Hey, welcome back to a bingo tutorial on RBA traps. This is actually the second part of a video. I did the first three items in the adult trade quest from the pocket egg, the pocket cocoa, and Kojiro in a previous video with the summary here. But we are going to be talking about the second half up from the odd mushroom to the Broken Goron Sword. So again, on the left here are all the bottle contents that you can have on B and what the binary values correspond to. Again, those will be the value that's written to the byte in memory that corresponds from the trade items here, which is quest items. So it's going to be very useful for songs, medallions, and other useful items. So let's first change this to the odd mushroom. I also sort of talked about this in the 5 essential tricks tutorial video, if you haven't seen that. Starting with the odd mushroom is actually relatively straightforward. In this case, it will always, not even useful on this, it'll always set your heart piece count to 1, no matter what. So this is very useful in hearts rows, where you need to get 8-9 hearts, and you're doing the adult trade quest. What you can do is you can cheat. Instead of getting 4 heart pieces, you can get 3 by RBAing, then getting 3 heart pieces, and then repeating that process, making sure not to RBA in between that, because you will always set it to 1. It doesn't give you 1, it just always sets it to 1 no matter what. And so that's going to be the case for any bottled content. Could be anything. Okay, so let's go on next to the odd potion, and I'm going to be going from bugs to fish, or the opposite. I have fish right now, but I'm going to be going to bugs. Okay, we can also just show it through here. So what happened is I got 2 medallions right there. Not 2 medallions. I got the 2 spiritual stones, the Kokiri Emerald and the Zora Sapphire. That's what corresponds to the dropping. In this case, previously with the other trade items, it was sort of like, okay, we have these bomb bag upgrades, which correspond to 3 bits. From here on out, it's like every single bit represents 0 means you don't have this, 1 means you have this. So you can directly correspond 0, 0, 0. That means that we lost the items for Skulltula account, shown Gerudo's card, and Stone of Agony. So if you have Gerudo's card or Stone of Agony, you have to get those after you RBA the odd potion, otherwise you'll delete them. And then we have the Zora Sapphire, that's a 1, so you're always going to have the Zora Sapphire. And then we had 0, 1, 0, 0, going from the bottom up of the first column on the left, so that means we do not have the Goron Ruby, we do have the Kokiri Emerald, we do not have the Song of Storms, and we do not have the Song of Time. So let's now catch and change that from a bottle value of 20 to a bottle value of 29 for bugs. So going to the same thing, you can see that we now have the Song of Time, and we have all 3 child spiritual stones. This would mean that if we went back in time, that we would actually see the Zelda escape cutscene that would get us the Ocarina of Time, and which is kind of pointless because we also have the Song of Time already. Importantly though, this will delete the Song of Storms. Again, for all of the values on the left, we're not going to talk about half milk because that is a bit more complicated and maybe will be talked about in a future video, or again, Danny B's very comprehensive video. But you can always bet on that second from the right bit being a 0, which corresponds to Song of Storms in this case. So if you want Song of Storms, then you should RBA this first. In the case of a goal like 8, 9, 10 songs, what you want to do is RBA this and then go to the windmill and get the Song of Time. Sorry, the Song of Storms. So that is good. Let's go on to the next item here, which is the Poacher Saw, everyone's favorite. So the Poacher Saw is going to give us songs, and it's also going to, so you saw right there that I got the Zelda's Lullaby and Nocturne Shadow, and then also got the Serenade and Prelude. So we can even give ourselves some of these songs ahead of time and see what would happen. Let's just give ourselves every song. See what happens again if we drop this. drop and catch just to be comprehensive. Okay, so we lost these 4 songs, and that's correct. You should always be wary that you're going to lose a lot of the child songs, Epona song, Saria song, Sun song when you RBA the Saw. Same with the Requiem of Spirit. So those are very important to keep in mind. If you have one of those as goals, like Eponas or Sarias, and you also have a goal that needs a lot of songs, like 10 songs, you have to be very careful how to do that. You have to either get those songs afterwards, which usually means going back in time, or you need to not do the Poacher Saw. If you need, say, Zelda's Lullaby plus Epona's song, then you'll have to maybe do Child Zelda's Lullaby. So that is an important thing to keep in mind. For Saw again, it's very nice. It just covers 8 songs. There's 2 songs that we didn't talk about, Minuet and Bolero. That will be relevant for the last trade quest item we're going to talk about, which is the Broken Goron Sword. Now, back in 2009, when RBA was being fleshed out, Akurite, Kazooie, they both discovered that, hey, when you RBA this, it's the Holy Grail, because when you catch, you get the Spirit and Shadow Medallions, and that is sufficient for watching the Light Arrow cutscene and the Rainbow Bridge spawning in Ganon's castle, which was the 90% route for some time back 15 plus years ago. But as you noticed, we lost 2 medallions, the Light and Fire Medallion. We didn't have the Fire Medallion, but you will lose it if you have it, and you will always lose the Light Medallion. So again, just looking at the 8 bits for the Broken Goron Sword, we set the bugs value of 0001. So that means that you will always delete Bolero, always delete Minuet, always delete the Light Medallion, and you'll always get the Shadow Medallion. And that's important for if you need those songs, if you want to go back to the Forest or Fire Temple. You have to carefully fit that in. Same if you want to have, say, 10 songs. You need to RBA Broken Goron Sword before you get either of these songs. And then the other thing is that, you will get, if you catch with bugs, the Forest, Water, Spirit, and Shadow Medallions. Sometimes these 2 can also be goals, Forest and Water Medallions. It's about the same amount of time if you are already at Gerudo in your bingo to go up to the Broken Goron Sword versus actually beating those dungeons, which might come as a surprise. But that will count for the goal. It will be in your inventory, which is sufficient. So that is a very useful thing to know. Let me add a nice little summary here for these as I walk to the Temple of Time for no particular reason. If I can survive. Oh nice, I actually lost medallions. Alright, this is the summary here. So again, the Odd Mushroom always will set your harpies to 1. The Odd Potion will be useful for getting the Song of Time and the Spiritual Stones. That'll also play a role, by the way, in buying things like bomb drops and some of the shops of the game. That actually only check if you have the Goron Ruby to sell you bombs. And hey look, it's a Light Arrow cutscene, because we do have the Shadow and Spirit Medallions. So the Poacher Saw is super useful in a lot of rows that need Zelda's Lullaby, which is perhaps the most useful song, but also giving you very useful warp songs in Prelude, Nocturne, Serenade, which are all very good. But be careful that you'll delete a couple songs as well. And same with the Broken Goron Sword, you delete Minuet and Bolero if you have them, Fire Medallion if you have it, and you'll always lose the Light Medallion. So that's pretty much it. You know, a lot of this is a recap of what I went over in the essential video, but I think breaking it down in terms of how it compares to some of the goals that you may see in a row can be pretty helpful. So I may go over other miscellaneous RBA related things, maybe even touch on Half Milk as well, which is usually not relevant for bingo, but is a nice little trivia. But hopefully this was useful. I plan to do other sort of general types of tips and traps that you may see in a bingo row. RBA traps, though, are usually pretty big, and at the end of the day, RBA is a pretty big knowledge check inside of bingo. if you know, for instance, how these bottle contents work, then you can actually apply this to other things as well. I didn't talk about other bottle contents on B besides bugs, fish, and empty bottle, but there are some, maybe edge cases where you would want to catch a fairy or a blue fire, or just be curious what that would do if you were in one of those places and that happened. Or there may be cases where you don't want to watch the light arrow cutscene that I'm currently in, but you do want a certain medallion. So maybe that means that you have to catch blue fire on B or something really weird. But if you have this foundation, then you can sort of extend that things even beyond these trade quest items. If you're looking at, say, there's the fake bomb bag, there's other items that you could RBA that we didn't talk about. Again, if you go to the Zelda Speedruns website where these charts are taken from, then you can just pour over that and, play around with it. So that's going to be it for this time. See you later. Don't forget to join the Bingo Discord if you're not already in that, or the other resources that I will link in the description. We are having a rookie bingo tournament at the beginning of next year, starting sometime between January and March. So that's one reason why I'm doing these videos, and I hope to get more people interested starting in bingo. I also stream on Twitch if you have questions. That's all the blogging I'll do. Okay, thank you, bye-bye.